This is your daily market review for Tuesday, November 26, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great week. Looking forward to a little bit of a reprieve during the middle of the week. Very interesting. However, as we go forward, please be careful. Again, I have some trades that are winning, some that are not doing, haven't started well, meaning that we're in the position of layering in potentially. But here's the thing, right? As I tell anyone and everyone who learns to trade, it's a probability game. If you're unsure of what you're going to do, don't do it. Define your risk so when you do lose, you keep it small. And when you're right, let that sucker run and manage it well. So again, we know going into the rest of the week, it's typically bullish. However, we will see there's a lot of things coming down the pipe, and I just don't see how it reacts well near term. Now, again, long term, I mean, again, you know as well as I do. The market will go higher. It's just whether the actions that are coming down the pipe, which I think are going to be pretty strong, potentially just put the whole world on red alert for tariffs, slowing economy. Again, you look at what's going on in Germany. It's absolute bloodbath. Europe is starting to weaken. China has struggles. They have to print endlessly and try to get more stimulus package going. And we know if tariffs are enacted, do not be surprised by slowdown and reaction. Then you have government spending cuts. I mean, there's a lot of things. Again, the economic data is showing weakening. However, the market is up at new highs. That's where you have to ten cuidado, be careful, trade accordingly. So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, links description below. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate and you have not reached out, please do. Love to help out. You get 2 agents for the price of 1. Use the Calendly links. Let me know what you need. We can chat free 30 minutes on the house. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on Twitter. Also follow, like, subscribe on the YouTube. And I appreciate any thanks, donations, links in the description below if you'd like to leave a donation. If you find any of this content valuable at all, I appreciate it. So going into, that last thing, check out the website, tradeagent.com. Get the link to the Discord room. Yeah, just let me know how I can help. This is the goal. Turn profits into properties and passive income. It's not rocket science. We know going into the 18th day, week of December, we know that there's potentially a cut coming. Too little, too late? We'll see. Again, we talked about how ultimately the Feds are always just in this process of what seems like stuck. Too much, too little. Too much, too little. Well, I personally believe near term, they are stuck. They're going to have to be very careful trying to navigate inflation. Bitcoin, talked about the 2 times range. You're welcome. And again, this is why we talk about the probabilities as you rise and fall into certain areas and certain fibs and certain repeating patterns. Again, if you're looking for certainty, don't trade. But if you're looking for probabilities, we talked about take profits. The more you're up, the less you own. People just got really freaking butthurt by that. And I was like, again, 10% pullback, it's your choice. But again, if you wanted to play the trade, leverage the trend, know that near term, we're probably going to go into a chop cycle at worst. How long is that going to last? You don't know. But I'd be watching what happens at the 88,000. If it pulls back, I mean, it always could pull back to the breakout. Ironically, probably not. I would think it's probably going to be somewhere, not ironic, but just eerily, I would think one of these fibs. Keep it simple, stupid. Oil, not much action today, chopping around again. I think demand destruction has kept prices low. Ultimately, geopolitical risk is holding prices up. We'll see what the price action is. Again, as long as you hold the mid-60s, looking pretty good. Natural gas, I mean, long-term, love it. I talked about this over and over. If you have the KLD short, you probably need to start taking some profits. All right, let's get into it. Dollar, holding the 8 and 10 day, keep it simple, stupid. TLT, so we talked about needs to break out. Get over this 93 area at this point. It's staging, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. VIX, I mean, wow, I'm impressed they got this down to the 14 level, filling the gap here. We talked about this on yesterday's recap. I mean, it was possible. Expecting it, okay, it's what it is. That's why we talked about taking out some shorts here today. BIVX, however, again, making lower lows, but the wick is a little sneaky. Seeing the action close. Be careful. SPY took some shorts out into next week on some puts, cheap puts, lotto puts, as we're retesting the recent highs. Again, technically breaking out to new highs, but it's interesting you don't get the confirmation in all the indexes and all the ETFs. QQQ, nowhere close. Inside day, fill the gap, now chopping around. Just worth keeping on it. IWM, we talked about this. Could this be a double topper? Like a fake breakout? Said multiple days, keep an eye on this. So just watching. DIA has been holding up pretty well. So, but at an old trend line. This is where it gets sneaky with the SPY short. Again, the risk reward to me is well in your favor with a reference, with a tight stop. Simple, keep it simple, stupid. GLD, again, we talked about gold is going to be hard. And when I say hard, meaning near term, I mean, I personally think you got to trade around it. Long term, I think you have no doubt it's going higher. But at this time in this area, I'm just not in a position to trust it because, again, I don't see silver and the miners following up. Like, silver should not be near the lows at the 100-day. Now, they're due to bounce, I hope, for metal miner gold bugs. Again, I consider myself for the long run. Just watching, see what happens, 8, 10-day. I mean, these names should be acting better, but they're not. Miners, same kind. I mean, they're all looking similar. AEM, however, AEM to me is the one of the future. I said watch this downtrend. If this is a head and shoulders or some sort of complex chopness, if you break that downtrend, you could have more potential upside. AG, keep an eye on OOT, chopping at recent lows. Newmont, this one's one, if you believe in the gold miners, I mean, this shouldn't be getting whacked. PAAS, chopping around. Just keep an eye on it. Again, I know some folks who played the dust and they bought it down, in the 45 range. Pretty solid move. Congratulations. All right, tech. Again, I think semis are the best generational short. Near term, long term. I mean, not near term as much as like long term, because again, I think it's priced into AI future. And it's just like when the internet came to be, it's not like the internet went away. It's just those companies went bonkers and then they had to give it back and actually make money. Which, again, these companies will, but will they deserve the valuation? I mean, we talked about the why. Your guess, near term, just know your levels. Micron chopping around. AMD. Look like Pelosi was playing with this one a little bit. Interesting. Hits the 20-day. Kadoosh. NVIDIA talked about long term. I think this is the easiest short out there. If you shorted up against the channel highs, congratulations. Leave a comment below. I'm just curious who else was looking at that. Because, again, some of us nailed it. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we hold this 130 to 128 level near term. Worth a watch. SMCI. I mean, this is just a stock that moves. We talked about the 50-day being important. Okay. I personally, again, until I get more clarity about the numbers and what's going on, which we probably won't until it's much higher or lower, it's just a trading avenue, in my opinion. Intellectual property got removed from the Dow, getting removed from the Dow. It just looks like again, this trend line here is going to be the key. Until then, it could just be chopping and then head lower. SMH, again, I believe this is the easiest short. Soxius, all this stuff. Break the trend line, break the 200-day. It's going to get fun. Adobe, holding up pretty well. Coming off the lows. We'll see what happens up here. Fills this gap around 530. Just worth watching. No trades on this, but again, watching a lot of the tech names. Apple posted something today. Said, all right, cool. You got the follow through up. You're into the old range highs. It's a really easy binary trade. You can take the emotion out of it. You believe it's going lower. You believe it's going higher. Here's your reference point. Trade around it. That's how I like to trade. I don't need to overthink it. Amazonian, nice little bounce today. Again, going into prime time for Black Friday. I'd watch how this acts up near the highs. Meta, talked about this trapping at the lows was due to bounce. It's interesting. It's chopping around here around the 50, 20-day. Again, if it's going to go higher, it has some more potential upside in it near term. Again, I don't know why people wouldn't be playing on the internet, especially over the holidays, but it's just, is it priced in? That's the question you have to ask yourself. CRM, chopping range highs, looks like a little M top forming. Guggenheim, keep an eye on this. The 200-day has been crucial. And now what? I don't know. They'll just choppiness. Again, you have a reference. Microsoft, which has been lagging, chopping around. NDAQ, son of a biscuit, just keeps going higher. Again, I still do believe, again, this is the hardest part about trading. And if you read Jesse Livermore, Reminiscent Stock Operator, the market can be more irrational longer than you can become solvent. And that's where you have to be careful. So do I have a trade on this one? Nope. I took some risk reward, did what I could, watching it. Keep an eye on it. MicroStrategy. Again, this is why we talk about taking profits, y'all. Watching the 8, 10-day, you got back up there again. Once you get to the backside of it, again, this is why the more you're up, the less you own, you trade around your position, and then you crush it. So watching what happens up here, I'm not surprised that it pulls back with Bitcoin. Now it's very levered. We said the 20-day would be Said this yesterday. If the 8-10 day break, 20 days next, if needed. I mean, I personally, I'm not going to say I know anything for sure. I'd be watching 260s gap fills. That would be the easiest bounce spot. You don't like to hear that. Netflix, interesting. Look at that big red bar. We talked about engulfing bars on yesterday's recap. Now it's chopping. Look at the wick. Not holding up incredibly well. Roblox, I mean, it's been holding up, but after yesterday's action, meaning like, watching the 48 level, seems to be holding steady. Pan W, again, we like cybersecurity names. Seems to be holding the breakout. 20-day, we've talked about this. As long as it does, I think you got more room for upside. If it doesn't, awesome. Because again, I'd like to buy these on the discount. Tesla, here's again where the market looks a little funny. You've got some names up, some names down. We talked about yesterday's bar needing to hold the 8 and 10 day. Wow, a whole lot of nothing day. Insight, this one's interesting. Again, I think they get bought out at some point. Back testing the trend line. Just watching. Again, their public data looks good. The valuation makes sense. We'll see. Palantir, looking like yesterday could have been. But again, I'm not really, we talked to this, 8 and 10 days, as long as it holds. It's just the steepness is what makes me cautious for bulls. Remember we talked about straight line moves and the move? It's pretty straight line-ish. You go from 40 up to 65. Keep an eye on it. Now again, as long as it holds the 8 and 10 day, I wouldn't sit here and go crazy. McDonald's, It's held the 100-day, chopping in some ranges. DKNG, again, I love this short. Up here in the 44, 45 area. At this point, though, even with the market chopping around up, this has no legs. See what happens if it gets cut at some point. Airbnb, talked about this one bouncing back to this blue zone. I mean, I'd be watching for the 200-day. I don't know if I was short today just to be early, but good luck. I mean, there's a gap there, too. You see it all. Costco, been holding up pretty damn well. I sell in a lot of gold bars, I guess. This one is interesting, though, because it has had a big move. I'm not saying jump out there and short this right off, but if you do the rubber band man theory, I mean, this thing is getting tired as fudge. Now you break over like a really steep trend. Feels like it'd be a trap. Watch the 976. Starbucks. Speaking of traps, right? Like, all right, you're going to break out? Okay, we'll see. I mean, they've got to prove it. They've got to prove it ultimately. The kitchen sink the quarter here. Now it's holding above the breakout. Just see what happens here. FedEx. Watching this area up here. Nice doji back test of a trend line. I feel like you're dialing in for a short on that one. It makes sense. Caterpillar. Nice bounce back. Filled the gap. Sorry, I don't want to just, you can see it. Sir, have you been drinking and driving? No, I just can't. Honestly, I don't ever drink. People don't realize that. Rarely. Gap fill, watching it. DE been on fire. We talked about this like consolidating, and then once it went, holy shiznit. However, near term a little overbought. Ten cuidado, could chop before a little more up move or chop before down. Nucor, we like commodity names. Let them just play the game. X, I mean, it's interesting how weak in Europe and certain parts of the world are right now. Chopping around. VALE, like global growth indicator name. Looks like trash. Arrow, again, another one. Like we like junior copper. Just been saying, be patient. Making new lows. CCJ. Holding up pretty well. I mean, you got to like uranium. That's all I can say. I mean, I personally, I'm not going to sit here and jump off and say, oh, we got to figure this one and jump in it. No, I like it for the long term, but I am looking for weakness. Hold on one second. So what do we know about the ultimately like long term? I mean, I'm going to be on record. I'm going to be very simple with this. We like commodities. We talked about this. I mean, if you have a war, tech war, who wins it? Who's the best company? Well, again, they're all going to be trying to produce. And what do they need is inputs. CF chopped around the high, gave it up. Mosaic, nothing. NTR. Yeah, does that make sense? Inputs are the future of the tech war. Who wins it? Again, you don't want to pick the winner. I mean, you could, but you're going to pick up. There's going to be a lot of losers. A ton of losers. So if you don't, I don't know, keep an eye on this, y'all. I mean, again, I like aluminum long-term is another one that we really like. We aluminum, uranium, lithium. You got everything that's going to be in the future. You know what I mean? We like this, but if you zoom out, you can see there's big upside. Big upside in time. I would just like to pull these on weakness. XLF, son of a biscuit. Holding up at the highs. We talked about this little island boys. I mean, it's been pretty steep over the trend line. Again, they hold all of the problems if the global banking system and everything gets a little crummy, which it feels like it is. JPMO making new highs, hitting old trend. Like, where's the trend line from? Like, this is like old. Yeah, I just said this yesterday. I'd be watching for shorts. Eyeing Morgan Stanley Morgan. Seems like today's gap down 20-day worth a watch. Bank of America. Buffett sold, and now it's rising. That's happened before. We'll see what happens if it continues. Goldman Sachs seem to be holding up again. I mean, you have references. Just 10 cuidado. Carey said this, the carry. Talked about the IWM. Like, yesterday's candle is really freaking scary, in my opinion. Keep an eye on it. Jets. Talked about the Jets are a terrible football team, but this ETF holding up, watching this 24, 25 area. Worth a watch. XHB, look at the housing index yesterday, right? Like, inside day today. Again, if you get over 125s, you're good. If it doesn't, raggy. Let's look at the transports real quick, just so people are watching. Transports have been in fuego, which, again, makes sense. Let me zoom out so you can see some of the levels. It's rather interesting to see us breaking out in the 50-day everything. And again, considering either market's pricing in some awesome future or the market's really expensive. Could be both. Solar, we talked about oversold bounce. I still think there's probably more upside if the market holds up. Sedge, I mean, these names have gotten absolutely pound-towned. ENPH, I mean, I'm trying to roll through these quick. It's just they've gotten absolutely slaughterhoused. HYG, sorry, First Solar, another one. Again, we talked about them oversold near term. They've all been. So let them chop out, let them play the game, let them see. Again, look for extremes. HYG, you got to be high out of your mind to buy corporate debt. Just my opinion. USO, chopping around. Again, UNG, not my favorite product, but we talked about it bouncing, natural gas. Again, we talked about KLD short up in the 80s. Again, look what's happening here in the mid-50s. Please take some profit. Please. XOP gets a little funky here, right? We talked about this 3-day range. You broke below it, but now you're holding the 8 and 10-day, holding the gap. Be careful. That's all I would say. CVE, I mean, names like the junior should be really ripping. They're back at the range lows. Valero gasoline names have been just chopping around, not really telling too much, but they're definitely not leading up. Like, you want to see gasoline names, like look at when oil and gas are just ripping, it's like zzz, bow, going nowhere, going fast. Going everywhere fast. Exelon Mobil, man, today's action doesn't look that bullish. Y'all see what I'm seeing? Oxy, this makes sense. Again, if you've gotten this far, leave a comment below. Appreciate all the love, support. You guys are, I mean, again, the people who reach out and chat with, love talking with you guys. Oxy, again, big chop zone. EQT, we talked about this nice bounce. Some of y'all took this. Now near term, watch 44, 45, and last but not least, Flex LNG. Again, I think this one is primed long term, but I would like to play out, especially with the dividend. Again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. Love you guys. Do me a favor. Leave a comment below. Heart, share. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. Have a great one, and I guess see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.